I have a really embarrassing secret to reveal. Now, it may not seem like that big of a deal to you once you hear it, but it is something that not very many people know about me and something that I've been kind of able to keep hidden for over 40 years. And that secret is that I was bullied as a kid for 5 years in elementary school. Now, it all started when my family moved from California to Arizona when I was about 6 years old. And I stuck out in the school for a few reasons. First of all, I was the new kid. And you know that anytime a new kid comes into class, they're going to be highly scrutinized. And even though we were only 6, a lot of the kids that I went to school with in my new school had been together since they were 3 years old. And so they all knew each other and had a comfort level with each other. And they already had all of their friendships and cliques kind of starting even at the young age of first grade. And since I was very shy at that time, I had a really hard time breaking in. The second reason why I stuck out is that I was the dumb kid. What I realized very quickly once I got into my Arizona school was that I was way behind in what I had learned. The Arizona students were already counting money and telling time, and we had not talked about any of that stuff in California. I had no idea how to do any of that. And so I just attempted to fake it until I made it because I was too afraid to admit that I had no idea what the teachers were talking about. And what I found out is you can only fake it till you make it so much. Then they give you a test and they find out that you're the dumb one. The third reason I stood out is because I was the weird one. See, my parents were kind of old-fashioned. My mom always made us wear dresses to school, both me and my 2 sisters. We were never allowed to wear shorts or pants at any time. And so I would wear dresses every single day, and most of the time the dresses that I wore were handmade by my mom. So although they looked adorable to other people, to a bunch of other elementary school kids, I just looked strange. Now, add on top of that the fact that I also had absolutely perfect hair. Probably hard to believe. But my mom made me wear rollers in my hair every single night, and in the morning she would brush my hair out and I would have the perfect boing boing curls. Think about the kind of curls that were on Nellie Olson in Little House on the Prairie. She was the bratty girl with the blonde boing boing curls. I was just the nicer brunette version of that look. And so that was very different because at that time, every single girl in school had her hair parted down the middle, completely straight. And here I was with boing boing curls and, by the way, a giant bow in my hair. So needless to say, I looked and dressed completely different than anyone else. And that really caused 2 things to happen. The first was that there was a boy in my class who developed a gigantic crush on me. He used to follow me around the playground trying to kiss me. He would write "I love Rochelle" on the chalkboard for everyone to see. He would follow me home because we walked from school to our house, and he would have a mirror in his hand and he would threaten to burn me with the mirror and the sun. He would also threaten to push me out in front of all the cars and get me run over. He even bought me a necklace one time and brought it to school to give to me. And I was absolutely horrified. I did not want that kind of attention, and it gave a lot of reasons for other kids in the school and in my class to make fun of me. Even though it sounds kind of cute and funny now, it was absolutely horrifying to me at the time. Now, the second result of me being different than everyone else was that there was another obsession, and this came in the form of a female bully. She was the most popular girl in our grade, and she had her little posse of boys and girls that followed her and did whatever she wanted. And so the result of that was that People were always trying to trip me in class, and they would make fun of what I wore, and they would make fun of my hair and try to pull my hair and make my curls bounce up and down. One day, they actually trapped me on the high monkey bars and surrounded me while they sat there and called me names and made fun of what I wore and asked me why I had to be so different. I can still envision that moment in my mind. Now, the question, of course, is what were my parents and the school doing about it? And the answer is nothing. The reason? They didn't know about it. My parents knew that there was a little boy that was having a crush on me, but that was it. I never told them about the female bully because it was just too embarrassing. And honestly, I didn't really understand it. You know, back then, we didn't give those things a label. There wasn't talk about bullying, so I didn't really know what it was, and therefore, I couldn't really ask for help. There was no discussion about bullying back then. It just wasn't a label that anyone used, and therefore, there wasn't anything that anyone did about it. And it wasn't anyone's fault. It's just something that occurred. You know, nowadays, there's such an emphasis on anti-bullying, and there's talk about it in the media, and it's all over the schools, and the school kids are actually taught to not bully each other. In my daughter's elementary school, they actually have a slogan called Just Be Nice, or JBN. So that's how far bullying has come, from something that was not recognized and never talked about to something that is all over and everyone knows what it is. But here's the interesting thing. There's actually two types of bullying. There's the bullying that we recognize and we talk about, much like the bullying that I had for 5 years when I was a kid. And that one has slogans and everybody is talking about education about that. But there's another type of bullying as well. And this is one that has no slogans, that doesn't have a ton of media attention, that no one is really talking about, and that is self-bullying. Self-bullying is far more rampant, and I believe it is far more dangerous. It's far more dangerous because it happens for a much longer period of time, and it is something that we just kind of grow used to and accept over time, and sometimes we even think that we deserve it. So what is self-bullying? Self-bullying is all the trash talk that you say to yourself every single day. It's the things when you say, I look ugly today, I'm too fat, I can never get anything right, I'm never going to be successful, I can't do it. And the list goes on and on and on. Now, the interesting thing about when I was bullied as a kid is that that lasted for 5 years. And I got weekends and holidays off. But what happens with self-bullying is that lasts a lifetime. Imagine the impact of self-bullying for your entire life. That could be 40 years, 50 years, 70 years, 100 years of self-bullying. That kind of negative mind condition creates tons of fear and stress and confusion and depression. And the worst part is you are knowingly doing it to yourself. It's time to stop the self-bullying. Just as we would teach kids JBN or just be nice to other kids, you need to start to teach that to yourself. Every time you start saying something mean about yourself, think about that little girl in Arizona. She was dumb about some things. She was weird in some ways, but she was very much the same as every other kid that bullied her in the things that she desired. She wanted fun and friendships and laughter and learning, and she wanted a lot of ice cream. You have that same little kid in you, and she or he deserves to be treated in a way that helps her grow and become brave and do the things that she was put on this earth to do. And she needs to know that even as an adult. Don't be a hypocrite and JBN everyone else around you and then turn around and bully yourself. You deserve the same sort of love and care that any other human on this planet deserves. But it's got to start in your own mind. You were put into this world to make an impact, but it's very hard to figure out what that impact is and to execute on it when you're bullying yourself every day, all day long. A loved person can accomplish so much, and it doesn't matter what your hair looks like, what size skirt you wear, or how smart you are. Imagine what you can accomplish if you spend the next 30, 40, 50 years loving yourself and telling yourself how great you are versus going down the trash talk. You have an impact to make in this world, and it is far easier to make it when you love yourself as much as you love everyone else around you. So take this challenge with me and JBN to yourself every single day. And in the meantime, laugh a lot and learn a lot. Yes, make sure you check out tomorrow's video because I'm going to give some specific tips on how you can JBN yourself. And they're great ideas that you also want to teach your kids. The more we can start this at a young age, the less bullying will happen of other people, and almost more importantly, the less bullying will happen to yourself.